You're listening to Just My Show, your number one source for pop culture.
All right, let's talk about the pole scene. You're obviously it's one of the most famous scenes in the movie. How much of that is your real tongue that we're seeing, and tell me how the whole thing worked?
That's all my real tongue. There's no prosthetics, there's no plastic, no rubber, no nothing. That was all me. There was a real flagpole, but they covered it with a plastic pole and they painted it to me to make it look like, a real pole. They had a hole in it with a suction cup, like a vacuum cleaner tube. And they just turned it on. They buried the motor in the sand, and that was pretty much it. And I was just stuck there.
And when you're screaming and talking while your tongue's stuck there, is that stuff you recorded after in the studio that they add in, or were you actually doing it at the time?
No, everything that you see was done there at the time.
And then the wide shot where we see it from the classroom, from far away with your arms waving, that's still you at that point, or is it a double?
No, that's me. I'm out there all by myself.
All right. So the next question I want to ask you, actually first, do you still have the hat, that pilot's hood thing?
No, unfortunately, I didn't take any of the clothes or props or anything from Christmas Story. I don't have any of it.
Next question of sort of a more serious nature. Last year was the first Christmas without Darren McGavin, who passed away in 2006. This year is, of course, the first Christmas without Bob Clark, the director who tragically died in a car accident early this year. Directors are always important to a film, of course, and there's plenty of writer-directors out there, but oftentimes, a director gets hired into a project that's either already written or partially developed, and it's just sort of a job, and they do it and leave. In this case, with Bob Clark, he was much more than just a director. He's sort of the guy who had the vision for the whole thing all along. Isn't that right?
Yeah, it was a total labor of love for Bob. He wanted to do the film more than anything. He had done Porky's before that. Porky's made $100 million plus at the box office at that time, was a lot. And they wanted him to do Porky's 2, and he said, no problem, right after I do my film. And they said, well, what do you want to do? I'm going to do Christmas Story. Well, we want you to do Porky's 2. He said, sure, I'll do it right after I do Christmas Story. So basically, he basically blackmailed the studio into making the film. They had no love, care, understanding of it, nothing. And Christmas Story comes to me because of Bob Clark's, hard work, determination, and the labor of love that he wanted to do this film. He believed that Christmas Story would be a wonderful thing.
And what kind of guy, just sort of looking back on his life, what kind of guy was he, and what sort of atmosphere did he set up for you guys on the set?
A nice mellow one. Bob was a big mellow, sweet guy. I talked to him I talked to him 2 days before he passed away. We were friends, and I do miss him, and this being the first year really without him will be tough. But he wouldn't want us to do it any other way except to just keep going and move on, move forward. But he was a wonderful man. Anybody who ever met him, I've never met anybody that had anything bad to say about him. I talked to Sylvester Stallone about him because Sly did Rhinestone with Bob and always spoke highly of him. I talked to Judd Nelson, who did From the Hip with Bob, and just had nothing but good things. I mean, I've never met really somebody who nobody has had a bad thing to say about him except for Bob.
And as far as the other kids on the set, how well did you get along during the filming? I know there's only so many hours young actors can be on a set. Did you guys get to hang out a lot?
Oh, that's all we did was hang out, because when we weren't shooting, it was so cold in all the places that we really couldn't separate and kind of just go and do a lot of things. When we shot in Cleveland, we pretty much stayed in the hotel area, and they had a deli right next door that had video games. And me and Peter and Zach and Yano and Ian and RD, we'd all end up down there playing video games. So we became a pretty good, tight-knit group.
And now, years later, I know a lot of you guys see each other a reasonable amount through appearances, about the movie. Well,
that's a part of it. I mean, really, the appearances and all the things that we do together are nice, because it gives us a reason to go someplace to go and hang out together. But like Zach, who played the bully, Scott Farkas. He's one of my best friends. Actually, after we get off the phone, I have to go drive to his house. So, I mean, you know, but like Yano Anaya, who played Grover Dill, he lives in Las Vegas, so I don't get to see him all that much. Peter Billingsley I talked to yesterday. He's running around. You know, he's executive producing movies, so I talk to him more than everybody else, but I see him maybe once every few months. Ian Petrella, who played Randy, the little brother, I see him, you know, every 2 or 3 weeks because he's 20 minutes from me. We're a pretty tight-knit group. We really are.
For more, go to www.justmyshow.com.